And Hulk. Wink, wink. Smash. Looks like you've made a great decision. Captain America! Yes, my friends, the first Avenger. Here he is in all of his stunning 6-inch glory. Now, I guess the first thing to talk about would be the actual sculpt itself. Let me remove the shield for a second so we can just look at the actual figure. Cap here is notable that they actually were able to change the ears in time. You noticed on the 3 3/4 figure that the earpiece wasn't present. We just saw his plain ears, which was originally going to be how the mask was going to work in the film until they changed it, unfortunately, I think. But still, it's good that they made it here, even though they're not really painted correctly. Other than that, the costume is sculpted entirely accurately, as you can see. The belt here is kind of a separate movable piece, so you can kind of adjust it how you would like for Cap to look in the movie.
It's not removable, though. It's
not
fastened
removable
on there, so there may be some way to cut it off and find some way to clasp it back on there, but it's factory sealed, so it's not just going to pop off on you.
Now, something me and Brandon would like to mention is the back. Now,
that's the one inaccurate piece of the costume compared to the film. Of course, in the movie, the blue and the white and red stretch back only so far, but then there's a big blue streak. And is the star on the back in the movie?
No, there's no star on the back.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just plain blue up here. I wish it looked this way in the film.
Yeah, that would have been preferable.
Now, I would have understood if there had not been a star, though, because it does look, visually, it's a little confusing. But just like the comics, he has the star back here as well. So, other than that, the sculpt, the quality extends to the actual texture of the costume. And as you can see, just like in the movie, it is a fibrous kind of material. It kind of has a rough feel to it.
Like the mesh.
Yeah.
Or the plate mail. Not the chainmail look in the comics.
Yeah, it's a lot like the chainmail look. Now, as we can see, Chris Evans, it's a wonderful sculpt for Chris Evans. It's maybe not as strong as the Hemsworth Thor sculpt, but it still does look like him. And we have to consider here that the mask is covering up a large portion of his face and that his head sculpt is significantly smaller than Thor's. Other than that, they get all the other details correct. The boots that I've always loved the design of from the film are sculpted correctly, and the gloves are as well. But of course, this leads us to our next category, paint, which the figure didn't fare as well in, but it's still a high quality piece. The main inaccuracy I want to talk about before Brandon talks about some of the other things is the lack of the undermask. Now, as we know in the actual film, Cap wears a cloth undermask that hangs off the back, and the cloth extends to the side of his face. Now here we just have the helmet, and it's almost like Hasbro has forgotten to just do the paint application to make the dark blue fabric that goes under the helmet. I'm going to buy some Games Workshop paints and paint the little part of the mask on here, and it would look a lot better, I think, and more accurate to the film. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of major inaccuracies, aside from, I think the blue overall is a little too light, but that's been a general problem for all the Cap figures in the Avengers line, from the 3 3/4 from the 3 3/4 to the large-scale shield-throwing action figure. They all have this kind of baby blue, and it's just not quite this light in the actual film.
The only other minute detail I can think of is that I believe there's a little bit of silver trim on the pouches on his belt that's not there, but that's getting down to points that are just too specific. You can't fault a mass-market company for not getting those details.
There's also patches of black that are missing from the boots, as well as from the gloves that's actually in the film. But, it would have been nice if we could have gotten these, but overall I think the illusion and the movie accuracy is plenty good enough, and especially when it comes to mass market figure, I especially like how we got the darker shades of blue here. I just would have liked to have seen the blue varied a little bit more all over the figure. And as you can see, unfortunately, they break up the silver patch on the arm with the articulation hinge, but there was just no way around that. I don't see how they could have did it any other way. So, as for articulation, take it away, Brandon.
Okay. A lot like the rest of the figures in the line, he's got the standard Hasbro 6-inch Marvel Legends style articulation. He's got double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He's got the rocker ankles, so you can get a great range of motion out of his boots. You can get, you collectors will know just how important that is. Go about as wide as you could possibly get him and still remain flat-footed, so that's really great for stability.
I don't know about other collectors, but I remember all of Jack Kirby's drawings of Captain America, And he puts them in these incredible, poses that are almost impossible.
Yeah,
he stretches
practically
the limits,
inhuman.
of human anatomy. So it's great to see a figure that can actually perform these, especially with this ab crunch. Show them a little bit of that ab crunch, Brandon.
It's rocks forward, rocks backwards, side to side, spins. Again, completely inhuman motion, but it's just a great range.
This is just another example of why Hasbro are the kings of action figure articulation in this scale right now, and they deserve that title.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's about it. He has the hinge at the neck. He has a head connected by a ball joint, which you can pop right off.
Now, something I want to point out, Brandon, is that I want collectors to know that this is a hinge here, and this can get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was actually stuck, and I didn't know it could move like this, so I had to work on it a little while. If yours doesn't budge, I suggest freezing and boiling. Yeah. And make sure you've broken it and everything so that you can actually get the full range of motion out of your cap.
It doesn't take a lot to pop off the head, so I would recommend just pulling it off and then working on the hinge from there. You don't want to accidentally warp the socket on your head. Of course, it being so easily removable, I hope means that we'll get a variation in the future with a maskless face and a battle-damaged outfit for the to represent the finale. We were out today, just found these today, by the way, so be on the lookout. Go to your local Walmart. We found 2 of them. We each bought one. Mine had a really stuck hip joint, so if yours doesn't go up, just freeze it for a little bit. Also, the Loki we found today had the same problem, so not a big issue, easily fixable, but just be on the lookout. Honestly, about the only major quality control problem we had with any of them.
Awesome.
Are we done?
The other thing we want to talk about is the shield accessory that you get, and there's not a whole lot of accessories in the 6-inch Avengers line, so this is really of note. We get this beautiful new shield, and it's really nice. Maybe the blue is a tad light here, but it's really okay. It's a beautiful sculpt. It's very accurate to the film. The other thing I want to point out is these straps, which you've already probably seen pictures of on the internet. Now, the straps can be used to perform a great deal of functions. They pretty much lock in these little mechanisms, and you just thread them through and pull. Now, this means that you can actually get it to where Cap can wear the shield on his back and everything, which it looks good and everything, but he never does it in the film. And really, they're pretty cumbersome. When I try to put them on, when I try to strap them to the hand, usually they're straps that stick out to the side like this.
You got to wrap them around his wrist. And
so I really would have
clumsy.
I really would have rather them not have done this.
Yeah.
It should have been more like the original first Avengers shield from
I'm glad we got a brand new accessory, because honestly, I just thought that they would include the old shield over again, because it's obviously doesn't change.
And if you already have that shield, then you're set anyway.
Yeah,
these complaints won't matter. So I'm not going to fault it. Now here we have the Wal-Mart exclusive First Avenger 6-inch Captain America figure, and as you can see, the height problem has been solved. Cap was far too short. He's great on his own and a wonderful little figure, but little is the operatic word there. So he's pretty small compared to the new Cap, which will fit much better with the rest of your 6-inch Marvel toys.
I guess being frozen in ice for 70 years stretched him out somehow.
Well, he went through puberty while he was in the ice. He was so little before he hadn't. Alright guys, so that was Captain America, and he is a wonderful figure. I would give Cap 4.5 out of 5.
Absolutely.
People say I'm a scrawny little guy, and I'm just about sick and tired of it. I don't know what this new figure has on me that I don't know, maybe a foot or two. I don't know. I'm a big guy. I'm getting out of here. Alright guys, so all the figures and every video review that you watch today will include some of these stands right here. Even Loki himself comes with an Avengers stand. These are beautiful little stands. Brandon, demonstrate how these lock together.
Okay. If you've ever played or ever saw the HeroScape miniatures game that was available from Hasbro a few years ago, I think they just discontinued it in '09 or so. But it's a great mechanism. It's a solid lock. You can put one on, and it's not gonna fall apart or anything. And you can create a little city street.
Now, the great thing about these is they can lock in different directions as well, so that you can sort of custom build as you'd like to go. Like, say here, you can get this, and the A's are kind of in different areas. Or you can lock them into a circle if you want to, but it would take several. The
intent, based on the image on the packaging, is that you're supposed to create a circle to have the Avengers lined up like the now iconic shot. at the beginning of the final battle in the film.
So here are the stands. They're really nice, and they really plus up each of your figures. And you guys are really going to enjoy displaying your figures with these stands.
Absolutely. Something we forgot to mention during the video, the action figure stands will also stack and lock on top of each other. So if you have 2 or more, you can stack them up.
Hulk not every time get what he want. Oh, including Hasbro figure that's the right size.
Big and green and